Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to a brand new video. Now, if any of you guys have been around here for a while, you remember I had two videos where I covered 5 weapons that should be australium. And I was just looking around my channel and I thought, hey, those videos managed to do pretty well. And I think I should maybe do a counterbalance of this, what I do hats that should be available in unusual form. And the more I think about it, there's so many hats out there that you just can't unbox in unusual due to the fact they're a promo item or due to the fact they're only available in crafting or stuff like that. And overall, it's just kind of sad to see all these items that would be really cool in unusual form. So I'm going to be covering 5 in this, but I can think of so many more, so there may potentially be an episode 2 depending on how well this video does. So if you think this is a really cool concept, then do smack a like on this video. It really will help me out and signify that you guys want an episode 2. And without further ado, let's get straight into the first hat of this episode. So in the number 5 spot, we have the Arkham Cowl. The Arkham Cowl is an all-class misc and can be worn with any other hat in the game, meaning if this was in unusual form, it could be comboed with just about any other unusual hat in the game. The Arkham Cowl was added to the game for people initially who purchased Batman Arkham Knight on Steam before the date of November the 16th of 2015, but later the hat was available to be purchased from the TF2 store, and I believe it can be still purchased to this day. Its unique version is worth about 10.22 refined, and I just think it would be amazing to have this in unusual. Maybe like a Miami Nights version, because it would be very themed, considering the whole Batman theme of when Batman shines a light into the sky with the Bat logo on it. I think it'd be quite cool to have those sort of lights shining up from the hat, and it'd just be a really nice theme. So next up in the list we have yet another all-class unusual. I featured this in a video before, being the Hat of Undeniable Wealth and Respect, otherwise known as the Hooah. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, but it's a promotional cosmetic item that again can be worn by all classes. It's essentially a treasure chest guarded by this weird squid being. I believe it's meant to be an octopus. When the hat is worn in game, its tentacles move and its eyes occasionally open and close. I just think it's such a cool hat, and it's so big and noticeable and bulky. It's always been a trading goal of mine, and even though my backpack is well over 1,700 keys, I've never really got around to purchasing them. They currently sell for about 80 keys if they're duped, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but it's a really nice, expensive and fairly hard to get hold of all-class hat, and it would just be really cool to have in unusual form. It would be such a god tier hat, it's not even worth thinking about how much like a Burning Flames one would cost. It would be absolutely ridiculous. So next up, straying away from these all-class items, we actually have something a little bit different now, being the Deathhead for the Spy. I know this isn't technically a hat, but it is still a cosmetic worn on the facial region of the Spy. And the Deathhead was added to the game fairly recently. It was initially added to the game around May, I think, and it was actually called the Skull Cap. However, I think there was actually another hat in the game called the Skull Cap, so they changed it to the Deathhead. It's an elite grade misc worn by the Spy, and it would be really nice to have yet another spy misc. We've got the No Mercy, which can't be unboxed anymore, and we've got the La Party Phantom, which is extremely common. I just think this elite grade spy mask would be super cool to get in unusual and would definitely be very, very high tier. So in the number 2 and the runner-up spot, we have the b.m.o.c. Of course, the Christmas period is fast approaching. We're coming towards the end of November now, and December is getting closer and closer every single day. The b.m.o.c. rises in price around the Christmas period. That's been a thing now for all of the time it's been in the game, I believe, and I just think this period would be super cool to just have like a really nice unusual b.m.o.c. I think the most themed one would probably be a Blizzardy Storm one. Obviously Christmas is generally associated with snow, and there's many Christmas films orientated around the snowy scene, and it would just be so cool to have an unusual Christmas hat available to be worn by all classes. Of course, the b.m.o.c. is a fairly expensive hat, with it being priced at around 5 keys, so its unusual version would of course be very expensive. However, it would be super fun to have this hat, especially around the Christmas period. So lastly, in the number 1 spot, on the item I think deserves an unusual effect the most, would be the Max's Severed Head. Of course, the Max's Severed Head started off as a hat, but around a year or two ago they actually made it to be worn with other items, so it actually just is a misc now and could be worn with just about any other hat in the game. I've owned this pink painted Max's Severed Head that I traded with Flair for quite a while ago for ages now, and although they are slowly declining in price, I don't think I'm ever gonna let it go. It combos so well with so many different hats, and when it's painted, it paints that whole item, and it's just such a nice all-class misc to own. As I mentioned, it generally does look really good with a lot of hats, which is why I think it would be a great addition to have it as an all-class MISC. We're kind of limited for all-class MISCs at the moment that can be unusual, with only the polar pullover, the virtual viewfinder and the antlers, as far as I'm aware, being available, all of which are very expensive and fairly limited. So I think a Max's severed head, although it would be really high tier, would just be so cool to be added to the game. But that is just about it for this episode, guys. Let me know what you thought down below, along with any other hats you think I missed out, and again, do let me know if you think I should release a second edition to this, because I think it's quite a cool concept and I want to know if you guys do too. So thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please do remember to leave a like and leave your opinions down below, and peace.